Hello, my name is David Paul, and today we are deliberately reaching out to coaches, consultants, and mentors because I am asking the question, how can coaches, consultants, and mentors have more profitability? But this does come with a warning. Yes, this session does come with a warning. Why? Because sometimes I don't always get my words out in the right order, and sometimes I just get confused because I'm middle-aged. So to help me today, I have the wonderful Lena Thompson. I have known Lena for about a year now, been my client, I've been her client. We've worked together on and off in various guises. And Lena's here to help me today to discuss profitability techniques for coaches, mentors, and clients. So Lena, hello, how you doing?
Hi, David. I'm very well. Thank you for talking to me. It's always such a pleasure. For over the last year, we've known each other. We had some interesting conversations.
Haven't we? Yeah, haven't we? Haven't we just? So quickly, tell us, what were you doing 10 years ago? And, what do you do today with coaches and consultants?
Yes, I mean, my life 10 years ago, even 2 years ago, was very different. My background is computer science, and I've spent about 15 years in corporates. I was a consultant, a trainer, a coach, anything really, you name it, I've done it all. 2 years ago, I've decided to change my life because, well, it was just I just had enough. I knew it wasn't my, I guess, purpose, right? And I began searching for my purpose. And this is something, I've been doing for the last 2 years. And over the last couple of years, I've been involved in some mind-blowing, really, businesses, experiences, and I've met such wonderful people. And yeah, it's a completely different life now.
Yeah, I have to say, Lena, you're quite addictive because you drop little things to me, which I don't always pick up on immediately. Dr. Joe Dispenza is one of those. David, do you know who Dr. Joe Dispenza is? Like, no. And now it's like me and speaking to people, hey, do you know who Dr. Joe Dispenza is? And people are going, not yet, but it sounds like I've got to listen. So I know that you work with, it's not just coaches, mentors, and consultants, but you work with physicians and doctors and therapists, people that have gone to university for 7, 8, 9, 10 years or more. So just give us fill that in for me a little bit.
It still blows my mind that actually, I've got a team like of consultants and of doctors and people with medical backgrounds who actually appreciate what I have to say, because apart from NLP and Reiki qualifications, my background, as I mentioned, with computer science. So over the last about a year, just maybe a little bit more, since the lockdown happened, I had to take my business online. And this is when I started really connecting with mostly health practitioners on various platforms and even through social media, really, to grow my team. And the reason for that is because natural health and wellness is more important than it's ever been before. And what's also I found really interesting is that more and more people are opening up to opportunities and possibilities. And apart from working with doctors and medical background practitioners, I have clients who are in their 80s and 90s, through my other business, through my companionship and driving, who are just blown away by how their lives are being affected with with this technology.
Okay, so I want to get into that a little bit later in terms of the technology that you've got, and I've got to say, it's in my pocket. You introduced me to something that's called an earthing card, which we'll look at later. And while we're talking about new technology and things like that, I've got to say, since I've been using this, I've been trying to describe the way that I feel about myself rather than what's happening in my life, because we often see medicine and practices and things like that. We often say it's changed my life, it's stopped doing this, or it's created a cure, or what have you not. We see medicine and health really is very black and white, and actually this has allowed me not to see it as being black and white, because the feeling that I have about myself at the moment, and I tried to think of this the other day when I went walking, was I feel more pH 7, if that makes sense. I'm not in this acidity, I'm not in this alkalinity. I have this type of freedom through balance, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but since I've been more connected, shall we say, to what you deliver. Anyway, I've got a list of questions here, Lena. I must get through them. So we've established that you work with a lot of people within, I'm going to call it the health sector. When I say the health sector, we are talking about doctors here who prescribe medicines, you know, and we're also talking about coaches who might help people in, let's say, relationship problems. For me, that all comes under the health and wellness sector. What problems do you see that coaches, consultants, and you know, mentors and physicians have with profitability? What's your opinion on that? Where are there common issues with profitability? Because that's what we're trying. That's what we're here for today, isn't it? So I'll try and understand that. What common things do you see?
Well, few common things obviously will be just one of them, and there's only so many hours in a day, you know, especially when you deliver one-to-one coaching, you know, I guess if they got a big group of people, it's a bit different, but the coaches I often work with, they work on one-to-one basis, and they seem to be 1 to 2 clients a week. So they're actually sacrificing a lot of their time. And in between, of course, you've got to prepare, you've got to go through your notes because you see more than one person normally. So that also eats into your day. And I know, I mean, I've got a couple of coaches I work with, and they were just completely burnt out. You know, they end up missing their son's football practice, their daughter's dancing. That was before COVID obviously happens. They just couldn't find enough hours in a day to do it all. And then, of course, on top of the day, you know, they've got to come home and cook and pick up all the bits and pieces. So that's one thing. Another thing, what I found, especially since, I guess, the lockdown started, and then I'm sure it's happening all over the world, that people here were being made redundant or they were put on furlough. Some people lost their jobs. And, you know, especially if somebody already had, let's say, was seeing a coach for anxiety or for depression, they just simply could not afford it. So that means that they were left with no choice, right? I mean, they had maybe to go and get some strong prescriptions or whatever that was to support their mental well-being, especially during these challenging times. So then the coach would lose a client and the client would lose a coach, and yeah, there would be complete disconnect.
I made a few notes down here. I'll pick up on that one. So my question was, what problems do you see that coaches and consultants have with profitability? So they're trading hours for dollars or pounds or whatever currency they're dealing with in. So therefore, we're limited on time, and that impacts not only business time, but home time and family time. And when we talk about work-life balance, Lena, we often think about ourselves. But if I remember rightly, you have 2 children, right?
Right.
But your work-life balance affects theirs.
Of course it does.
So when we look at profitability, it's not just about our own personal work-life balance, but it's how it connects with the people closest to us. And then I wrote down here as well, security, because what securities are there out there right now? And, you know, I mean, you had this company beforehand, the driving company, which we haven't really spoke about. Well, COVID comes along, boom, goes. And I have other clients like that, and it's how do I start up and start over again? So it's also a case here in terms of one of the problems that you see is that coaches, consultants, and clients only tend to have one product or one way of making money. Because the consultant can say, yeah, but David, I offer 3 products. But if all those 3 products come through him or her, so let's say you offer one-to-one coaching, you offer group coaching, and you offer some sort of distance learning program, 3 products, they look like 3 different things, but actually from a business point of view, the platform is a little bit weak because they all operate through you. So that's a problem with profitability because we're putting our eggs into one basket.
Exactly. And, you know, during the last year, I mean, I had so many people I know, when they get sick, that's it. There's nobody else to pick up, you know, bits and bobs. So if it's a single mom, you know, and he gets sick and you can't work for 2-3 weeks at a time, what happens then, you know? And so what happens to the clients? Because if somebody really needs to see a therapist or a coach, I don't know. I mean, are they going to hang out and wait? Maybe. But
So that's if you get sick. What if your child gets sick? What if you have a parent that gets sick and it has an impact on you? It's all that time taken away from your work. Then there's things such as, you know, for your retirement. What are you doing for your retirement? Who pays for your holidays? So we have all these different, so it's not just about profitability in terms of the instant income coming in, it's the potential income that we can be losing out on in the future from holidays, through sickness, and obviously retirement. So on to my next question. I didn't expect all that stuff to come out there, Lena. Thank you. Collectively, from your clients, these doctors and physicians and the coaches and therapists that you work with, collectively, what are we all trying to achieve? What do we all want here?
You know, we all have different goals and vision in our life, but I would probably speak for most if I say everybody wants that freedom, right? To follow their passion and to do things that are meaningful to them, whether it's go build a church somewhere, go feed 100 kids, or go on a holiday and take the whole family. So we all want that freedom and independence. And I think, you know, for me, for a long time, when people ask me, why are you doing this? I was like, well, I want to help people and I want this. But then it just came to me one day in the meditation, word freedom. That's it. You know, and that freedom can be physical. If let's say somebody is really physically unwell, I mean, all the focus is on the pain. The freedom can be emotional, mental, spiritual, but unless you kind of balance all of those freedoms together and you become that whole person, you're never really truly free. And that's what I think many people are really trying to get towards that complete freedom. And money, of course, will give you part of that.
Sure, you've helped me write a few notes down here. So some of the stuff I've been able to write down what I caught from you. So you mentioned obviously the freedom was the main thing there. And you said physical, emotional, you know, mental. I also wrote down here, you said vision. But I also wrote down, what are we trying to achieve? We all have this idea of what our life ideally should look like. And that's saying it in a different way to the way that you did. Well, I think it's the end result, freedom. Rather than being told what to do, being thrown through this conveyor belt of society, all of the coaches that you and I work with, we all want to do one thing, and that's for sure. And that is to be able to leave our impression here, right? Leave our footprint. And it's more than money. It's money can help us do that. Let me flip it. What are we trying to steer away from, Lena?
Well, once again, I think, you know, it's very individual, but for me, it's feeling confined. It's not being able to express myself, and to be limited. That's what I'm trying. I'm trying to stay away from many limitations, which I've accumulated throughout my life. And that's what I really try to stay away from. And I think for a lot of people, you know, we all have different blockages, whether when it comes to love, to money, to whatever it is, you know, whatever. I mean, like for me, I know I struggle to receive things. So there's my block that I need to work, and that's what I'm trying to get away from.
Yeah, you do. Well recognized.
Yeah.
Sorry, I stopped you in your flow there. So, okay, let me summarize. If we're trying to bring in, we're trying to create profitability, and we're trying to create profitability in different ways, and we try to reduce the number of hours we work. We're trying to improve our work-life balance and the work-life balance, and you know how that affects our family. We want to project and protect, bit of channel in there, future income. And so let's put that into a 3D mind in terms of the income that we earn from our time, our efforts, but also things like vacation and sickness and retirement. We want to move towards being able to have our impression and our footprint in this earth and where we can find our own freedom through a direction through our physical, mental, and emotional selves. But at the same time, we want to steer away, and I like how you said this, limitations. So how have you been able to do that? What's this one thing that you've been able to do over the last 18 months, 2 years, that's enabled you to increase your profitability, increase the things that you want in life from emotional, physical, mental freedom, and to steer away from your limitations? What have you been doing?
I mean, I'm not Buddha and I'm not Mother Teresa. It's like daily work, you know. I mean, for years and years, I used to torture myself with running marathons, ultra marathons, training my body, and I've never ever trained my mind up until about 2 years ago. And what I found is that training my mind is a lot harder than any ultra marathon I've ever done. It's completely, you know, it's raising your levels of awareness, it's being conscious of every word, every reaction, every action that you take. And sometimes it's hard. And I mean, I've got, let's say, you know, I've got challenges, many of them, but I think it's by self-awareness, you know, by reading the books and the podcasts. And I obviously meditate every day. And I've set myself a yoga challenge for 14 days. So it's connection, connecting your mind, body, and soul. And then also learning how to listen to you, not to the noise outside, to trust it, and then take an action. And the trust, for me personally, is the hardest, is that surrender, because we're all made of masculine and feminine, right? So you predominantly should be masculine because you're in a man body. I should be predominantly feminine. But what was revealed to me was that I'm about 99% masculine. So that means I do. I take action, but I never just release it and trust and surrender. And that's what the next work on.
Sorry, second one, thank you. Okay, so what was the trigger point for you to say, I've been doing this with my body and I've been achieving great results, phenomenal results. I mean, you really were top 1% with what you were doing with your body in terms of the marathons and the ultra marathons. So I can say with certainty you're the top 1% for that, because how many people you know run a marathon and consistently, you know, every year. So when I say top 1%, it's not as if I'm making these words up. It's absolutely true. But there you were, you know, you're training your body for that. But then one day you recognized that it wasn't your body, it was your mind. Was there a single product that you came across? What was that trigger point for you?
There wasn't a product, it was Dr. Joe.
It was Dr. Joe, right.
That's basically how my whole journey started, you know, and that's what gave me the strength, I guess, to see that this is not the way my life had to be. I was told that my life had to be that way. I was expected to have a certain type of life, but that's not what my soul desired, even though back then I didn't even know what my soul desired. But all I knew that was not right for me. And that's when I decided, you know, I remember my contract ended in London. It was a corporate contract. And when it came to an end, I got so many offers, I decided not to take a single one of them. And of course, there was a lot of panic from my mom's side, saying, you've got kids and fee-paying schools, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to sell the house. I don't care. But that life is over. And it was that feeling, that certainty. I have no idea where it came from, you know, and over the years, it just only got stronger. Even though, I mean, I still doubt myself, of course, but I know without a doubt that, you know, I'm on my right path now. I'm
with you. So I want to start talking about in a second about something called nature's frequencies. But what I really like about you wasn't what I really like about you, actually wrong. One of the things I really like about you is that when you put yourself out there, you do it as Lena. This is brand Lena. This is who I am. This is everything I've taken in my life up until this point, and this is what you receive. And it's really important for me, Lena, to mention that to you. One, so that you're aware of it, and secondly, to let other people know the difference between who Lena Thompson is and the difference between you and, let's say, bog standard MLM company, because we hear about MLM companies, and I can name a few. We can all name a few. And people, and we've seen these people that go into MLM companies. They might be friends on the internet. They might be real life friends. It might be your mum, dad, your brother, your sister, your husband, your wife, whatever. And they go into that and they get seduced by this dream of being able to live their lifestyle, but they lose their identity. I've got to be careful. I don't want to slip into this particular company name, being sued and all that sort of stuff. Don't want to go down there. But I have some friends that did that. Hey, David, we know this company and it's all about money, 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 money. And that's all they were talking about, Lena. Money, 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 money. And the product was a health and wellness product. But it's all about money, money, money. And David, you've got a big audience of people, and if you introduce this to these people, you can make all this money and what have you not. And I just stood back from them and I went, I ain't interested. And they said, David, you're a businessman, you've got to be interested, it's going to make you the money. I said, it won't, because this is not your company. And there's no brand here for you. Oh, the brand's massive and they put millions in marketing and all that sort of stuff. And I said, no, you don't get it. I'm not interested in buying that product. I'm interested in being you, not buying you, being you. I want to be you. Show me, and I was just being relative with him. Show me what it means to be you. And he couldn't. Show me, okay, so show me what it means to live the life that you want. And he couldn't, because he wasn't making that money. He wasn't making that connection. And what happened, Lena, was he joined this organization because that organization came along at the right time when he was desperate in need of his dream. And he didn't know what his dream was, but this company came along and said, we know your dream, buy from us and we'll give you your dream. It doesn't work like that. But one of the great things I like about you is the fact that, even though you're going to talk a little bit about nature's frequencies right now, when I've known you, it's never been about them. It's always been about you and your journey, because it's not that I'm buying into you and your journey. I'm buying into my journey. I'm buying into David Paul, because that's the number one person here right now in this room. It's me. It's not you, Lena, as much as I like you. It's always going to be me. And I know coaches say, hey, we go out there and serve and stuff like that, but we're serving for a reason. The reason why we're serving people is because we have our own purpose. So therefore, we always come back to me. And this is where most people, when they start talking about MLM and all these different companies, they just go out there with money, 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 profit, 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 lifestyle after lifestyle. And people are going chasing, chasing, and chasing. And they make nothing. They lose time, they lose money, they lose confidence, they lose comfort, they lose energy, sometimes they lose the will to live. So I want you to tell me, because we've got to know a little bit about you. How did you come across nature's frequencies? What was the first product you bought? Why did you buy it? And what effect did it have on you? Because I know when you went into this, you didn't go in to join an organization, you went in to buy a product to help you with something. So tell us about that, because then I want to try and link that into profitability afterwards.
Sure. So as I mentioned, I've got another company where I work a lot with elderly and vulnerable people. So I actually went to network marketing events or this, whatever, when we still could meet physically, to talk about the companionship business, see how I can help. And there I met a gentleman, about 80 years old. He was standing there with like this plasters or something, waving it in his hands and talking about arthritis. His wife had arthritis for about 20 years, to such an extent she couldn't hold knife, fork. It was just too painful for her. And then she's very strong-headed, so he couldn't really convince her to even put the plaster on her. Eventually, when he did, he said it was like literally like a miracle happened. Her head is straightened up. She could take knife and fork. She could take a tennis ball. She was pain-free, and that just happened overnight. And it hit some pain points within me, because my grandmother had arthritis, and it would take her hours just to cross from the bedroom to the kitchen every morning. She was in agony. My uncle had arthritis, and at that time my mom was living with me. She couldn't move her shoulder for a long time, you know. So I didn't believe him. I was like, look, I understand all about energy, vibration, and all of that. I practice that, but this is weird. I'm like, well, can you just give me something to take home and try it out? So he gave me a sample. I went home, I stuck one patch in my mom, and she went to sleep. Next day, she came running down the stairs. She goes, look at that. And she knocked me out almost with her shoulder. She said, it's the first night I've slept in months. I'm like, the pain is gone. So I phoned my driver and I said to her, can you just please go to see your mom in a care home? I've got something I want to try on her. Her mom's been in a wheelchair with chronic pain in her legs and her back, and like really bad memory, almost no memory at all. So we put some stuff on her and we left. Half an hour later, Melanie, who was my driver, her phone rang and it's her mom. She said, Mel, I don't know what you stuck on me, but I want to get up and go dancing. She said, the pain is gone. But the most a miracle thing happened. Melanie went back to see her mom next day and her memory came back. She started remembering things 10, 15 years ago. So, I mean, and I was like, wow, okay. So I mean, and the rest was really history. I was just blown away completely.
I have to tell you that something, well, you know this, but I'll tell the audience this. My wife is Emily, and Emily is a big, I call her a septic tank. She's skeptical of things. And she's been suffering from stress through work. And the way that stress comes out with Emily, she has problems here in the trapeze muscle, and it really tenses up to a point where sometimes she can't get out of bed. When I say can't get out of bed, I've had to go around the other side of the bed and help her out. She's 38, okay? So really bad. And you advised me to buy some EMF stickers. So I'm like, right, I'll do this. So I whack these EMF stickers on, which we're not going to talk about today. So I whack these EMF stickers on, not on my wife, but on our gadgets in the house. I can see Lena's face, on my Wi-Fi box and my laptop and things like that. And they put a little present in there. And well, I received them, Nature's Frequencies did, and they said, look, if you feel a pain in the future, just whack this on. So I said to Emily, are you willing to try it? She said, oh, David, I'm willing to try anything. So this was, I tell you when it was 15 days ago. It was 2 weeks last Sunday. And so we read it. And so if we looked at a pain and we put
Really?
one or two stickers on the actual issue, but it also advised us to put a sticker underneath the collarbone on the left and on the right hand side. And I've spoken to my kinesiologist about this, and she was telling me it's something to do with some sort of meridian points in your body underneath your collarbone. I have no idea what that is. Long story short, 8:30 in the morning, no, it'll be earlier than that, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, stick these on my wife. We are due to leave at the house 11:45 to be at our friend's house for 12 o'clock. I see her picking something up. I just looked at her, I said, you picked that up pretty easy. And she went, feel pretty good, you know. All right, how good? She said, cautiously good, or something like that. End of the day, I said to her, how do you feel? She said, I'm going to feel back to normal. I said, okay, let's see what it's like tomorrow morning. So she gets up in the morning, pops up, gets out. How do you feel? I feel back to normal. I said, do you feel fantastic? Do you feel fantastic? She said, no, I feel back to normal. What's back to normal? My pain is gone, the stress is gone. I don't feel tense. I'm not restricted in my movement. I can pick things up. I can do things. When I'm driving, I'm struggling to turn my neck to the right. Now I'm fine. Look at me, David. So I know they work. I absolutely know they work. But let's bring this back into profitability. With coaches and consultants and everybody else in between is watching this right now, and they've got a little idea now of the product that you first had and how it helped your mum, and the product that I've had here and how it helped Emily. How can a little product like this help a coach or a consultant or a mentor with their profitability so they can get the freedom that they want in their life from the physical and emotional and the mental point of view, and how we can steer away from our limitations?
Okay.
where does this connect everything up? Tell me.
So I'll just give you an example, which because I think, or a story. I think everybody relates to stories a lot better. So I work with nutritionists, so a nutritionist coach and a health and wellness who advises women mostly on what they should eat, on their life, work balance, etc. So the one product specifically they decided to integrate into their package is EMF shields. Now, for those of you who don't know, EMF is electromagnetic radiation, and it's something we all exposed to. And even though it's not visible, it literally bombards our bodies 24/7. And there's a lot of research that is done already that shows how it affects our health. We talk about migraines, stress, insomnia, headaches, and even much more severe cases. So as part of the package, for example, if somebody wants to go get their nutrition design package, they already include a pack of EMF shields into the program. Okay. So that's some people incorporate it like that. I then work with energy healers and Reiki healers. They use, for example, earthing cards, something you've mentioned before. So earthing card, that gives you the benefits of grounding, of earthing. So it helps with inflammation, stress. Anybody struggling with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia is a big one, has tremendous benefits from this. So what they do is when they give their clients a treatment, they just put it under the sheets, under the bed, wherever the client is, and they give them the treatments. And it's amazing, how clients respond to the frequencies on this card. It's almost everybody will say, what was different about the treatment today? So then they will include an earthing card maybe with their service.
So what you're, sorry.
No, go on.
What I was going to say, thank you. What I was going to say then is, in terms of helping coaches, consultants, and clients, mentors with their profitability, this offers something to your clients that you can't offer yourself. So, for example, me, I'm a business coach, mentor, consultant, whatever you want to call me, and my client could be there saying, David, I feel incredibly tense and I feel nauseous about moving forward in my business. And I go, right, okay, I can sort that out from a business point of view, but how are you sorting it out from a wellness point of view? Now, I can't help them with that. Why? Because I'm not skilled in that area. But what I can introduce them to, without me doing any selling or without me getting into anything, is that I can tell them my little story about Amelis trapeze and EMF story and things like that. And then I just give them this link. And they'll go on there and make their own discoveries. And all of a sudden, I've added to my profitability of my business through products that I don't have to sell. I'm speaking to people naturally every day, Lena, in my business. So let's say that you've never come across this before right now, and you're my client, and David, you're telling me that you're really struggling. You understand what we're doing together and how we're doing it together, but you're suffering from extreme headaches and migraines. I can comfortably, Lena, sit back and say here to you, I am not a doctor. However, can I share something with you that I've tried and it worked for me? What would you say? Yes, please. Here's the link.
Exactly. Yeah, because I know there's like my mental health, right? It's like on everybody's lips. It's all about being overstressed and mentally exhausted, etc. So we've got there's certain frequencies which are programs into those plasters, into the patches, which help with anxiety and stress relief. It's actually CBD, and a lot of people are familiar with CBD, except there's nothing to eat, ingest, to rub. It's just a sticker that you place on your body. I'm wearing actually one on my necklace now, and that's the one for pets, but it delivers exactly the same frequencies to the pet bodies. I just think it looks really cool. So that helps with anxiousness, with separation anxiety in humans, if you've got one also. But there is something for everyone, and what the beauty of it is, because people say, I don't like selling, right? Especially in England, people don't like selling. I don't like selling, but I like seeing people better. I like seeing the vision beyond the vision, I guess. And that's what I want to get them to, And also what I do is, I market everything for them. I've got all of the content I've created over the last year, all of the ebooks, all of the proposals, everything is there. So it's just, something that's been incorporated in so many different practices over the last year with really, really great results.
So a coach, a mentor, a consultant, a therapist, watching this right now, we can throw in instructors and teachers and tutors, and you've got your products and you're reaching out to your clients, but you feel perhaps there could be other ways that you can help them without you being, you don't have to legitimately subscribe anything because you don't want to go doing that anyway, and without you being a salesperson, but just to say, hey, you know what, have a look at this. Those coaches and consultants and mentors, they can profit from this right now. They can add to their business right now. They can add to the things that they want in their life. They can help reduce their limitations. They can increase their work-life balance and the health and wellness of their family, as well as a consequence of them being able to do this. How do they contact you, Lena, to just find out about a product, or maybe just say, Lena, I've got this problem, what should I look at? Or maybe they want to say, hey, Lena, I'm interested in bringing this into my business a little bit more, not to overtake my business, not to become this new representative or something like that, but I've got 6 or 7 coaches, I'll work with 30 or 40 coaches or whatever. How do I bring this, and how do I bring these products in line? And that's really important. How can I make sure that this alignment is going to work for me? What's the best way of contacting you?
Sure. So before I answer that question, I also want to mention, because you mentioned, I know you spoke about MLM and people shy away from MLM, and I want to say to a lot of people who are listening, this is not an MLM opportunity unless you specifically want it to be. So for the first 7 years, Nature's Frequencies, by the way, they've been around for 8 years, and for the first 7 years, they only worked with medical practitioners. There was no MLM, there was no network marketing, nothing like that, and we still kept that same kind of division. So we've got personal clients. So somebody comes to me as a client because they've got a pain or they want protection from radiation. They just purchase whatever they need and then come back as and when needed. We then obviously have the doctors, the holistic coaches, practitioners, etc., who only recommend it to the clients. And then we've got a third division who, what I do all of it really. So it's very, very flexible on how people want to use the products and services.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to get in touch with me, I am on LinkedIn, Lena Thompson, very easy to find me, or just thompson.lena@gmail.com. You can email me, or through your group. I think I'm on all your groups, just find me and message me.
Yeah, sure. What's your email address?
Thompson.lena@gmail.com. Just like the way you see it on the screen, it's spelled exactly the same, just backwards.
THOMPSON.
Full stop Lena, Lena.
Lena, I am going to say thank you very, very much for your time today. You've been marvelous.
Thank you. Thanks, David. Thanks for talking.
You're welcome.